Hi everyone. In response really to a lot of kind of chatter and worry from students, parents and teachers about how to manage each day in lockdown, what I thought we'd do is we'd explore 10 things to kind of hold on to during the course of lockdown, 10 activities, processes to support us each day. And we'll publish them every day at the same time over the course of the next 2 weeks. And we'll keep repeating them because they're really important messages. So 10 things to support us during lockdown. And number one is the importance of a daily plan or structure. It's really important to have a daily structure that we stick to. Now, there's a bit of us that doesn't like routines. There's a bit of us that sits there on a Sunday night in a normal period of time with school or work rushing at us for Monday that really doesn't like the structure of work or school. But actually, most of us really like the structure. Structure provides our brain circuitry with plenty of boundaries in order to kind of manage what is effectively quite a difficult parliament of circuits. So the way the brain is organised is we've got the prefrontal cortex behind our forehead, and that manages all the circuits during the course of the day and helps us manage our attention. But behind that, our brain is a complex set of circuits that all evolved at different times to do different jobs, and some of the jobs those circuits do are in direct opposition to the jobs that some of the other circuits do. So we can, and we do, all of us have experiences where we end up with an argument with ourselves. What daily structure does in the environment is it helps our prefrontal cortex to manage that rockety parliament. And if we don't have a structure, then it means that parliament can end up in a bit of a chaotic space. And you know, you'll all experience that moment when you sit down to do something and you don't want to do it. That feeling of procrastination, that wanting to put it off. That is a common human experience. It is not just you. Basically, sitting down to do something that might be hard, could be online maths, could be a TV program about history, whatever it is, sitting down to do something requires your prefrontal cortex to expend quite a lot of energy calming down a whole bunch of circuits arguing across your brain and to focus your attention as well. And so moving from a state of kind of chaotic sort of doing what you like-ness to focusing your attention, it requires the brain to generate huge amounts of additional energy. So it's going to possibly try and avoid that if it possibly can. And that's why structure is really important. It's really important to have the similar structure every single day. Your prefrontal cortex is freshest first thing in the day, so it's really important that any hard, difficult work is done as early in the day as possible. A recommendation would be to have a structure in the mornings of kind of learning and reading and focused with good focus breaks. So, you know, half an hour of focus and then a good 10-15 minutes off, and then another half an hour of focus, 10 or 15 minutes off, all the way through the morning. And then after lunch, maybe some other activities that aren't as demanding, maybe reading a book, watching an engaging documentary, those sorts of things. And then towards the evening, those are the moments when you should do the things you really love doing, because you're going to do them anyway. You're not going to need the effort, to play Fortnite. You're not going to need to gather lots of energy in your prefrontal cortex. You love Fortnite or whatever it is you love. Save that stuff for sort of later in the day. I'd say beyond sort of the normal time that school finishes, sort of 4 or 5 o'clock. It's really important to structure our day to keep that kind of focus. Otherwise, what happens is, however much you don't want to do something and you can't be bothered to do something and you really, really want to fight against doing something, you will later on in the day feel bad about not making effective use of the time. And that's because there are judgment circuits in our brains that judge us and other people. Generally, they're looking out into the world and judging other people's behavior, but they also judge us as well. And if they see us wanting, if they see us failing to do the things that we know we should do, then they will have a go at us later in the day. And those are those experiences that we all have when we feel that we've wasted time and we've not done the things that we promised to do for ourselves. So structure is fundamentally important for our brains and for our bodies as well. So we'll talk about in other videos the sorts of things to put into the day as well. But the overall structure is difficult stuff first, really focused attention stuff in the mornings, acknowledging that your brain may fight you, but do it anyway. we have all got the ability to avoid demand. It's kind of wired into the brain. It wants to avoid demand. We just need to push through that feeling, be aware of it, and then plow on into the work. But make sure the work is in slots: 30 minutes, 10-minute break, 30 minutes, 10-minute break during the course of the morning, and then some other activities in the afternoon that are engaging, developmental, but not as demanding on the prefrontal cortex at keeping the rest of the brain calm. And then the really fun stuff that you look forward to, that you're absolutely going to do anyway, do that in the evenings, and make sure you get a good bedtime. But that moves us into kind of a key idea number 2 for managing lockdown, which is the importance of sleep and exercise. We'll talk about those things tomorrow. Thanks for listening.